Steere House Rehabilitation and Nursing Home in Providence, Rhode Island has been operating for an astounding 150 years. Consistently ranked as one of the top nursing homes in the country, with 2 of the doctors on their staff being part of the top 100 doctors in America. In this time, they not only excel at patient care, but they also go a step further, trying to engage the patients in activities that can stimulate both the mind and body. One of the things they've also always taken advantage of is the use of therapy animals to care for their residents. And it is a very special therapy animal adopted by the nursing home back in 2005, which is the reason for our story today. Adopting Oscar the cat back in 2005 was not unusual for the Steere House. At any given time, they would have 3 to 5 cats that would be specifically assigned to the advanced dementia wing of the facility. These were people who had a hard time having any interactions at all, and they welcomed an animal companion that would occasionally spend time with them. But after about 6 months in the facility, the staff knew that there was something very different about Oscar. Oscar, like other cats, would make his way around the facility, visiting any number of the 40 patients. But the only people he would stay with, sometimes for hours on end, would be those that were about to pass away. And many times, the fact that they were about to pass away was not known to the staff themselves. After 2 years at the facility, Oscar was a perfect 25 for 25. The staff were talking. They felt like there was something to this. It wasn't just coincidence. Dr. Joanne Tano of Brown University and a staff member at the facility thought that maybe she had seen Oscar make his first mistake. There was a lady very close to death, had stopped eating, refusing to drink. Her skin had a bluish tinge, which would lead you to think death was near. Oscar refused to go in this woman's room until the following day, where he was with her for her final 2 hours. Dr. David Dosa, also of Brown University, was not the first to notice Oscar's abilities, but he was the first to put pen to paper. First, publishing a story on Oscar's abilities in the New England Journal of Medicine, and then later, deciding to write a book. His book, Making Rounds with Oscar, would not only deal with Oscar's special abilities, but he would talk in detail about geriatric care and bringing respect to those in the later stages of life. You can look at the link for this book in the description of this video.
Dementia is a horrible disease and takes so much from the patients, but it's really the caregivers at the end that suffer most. And Making Rounds with Oscar is really their story. It's the story of all of the difficult decisions that are made. It's the story of all the guilt and all of the emotions that are brought out at the end of life. But it's also the story of the care that people receive.
Through Dr. Dosa's book, public fascination and media fascination with Oscar would go through the roof. He would appear on countless television shows talking about his book. There are potential movies being optioned about the work. There have been children's stories. There have been songs written about Oscar. Stephen King took inspiration from Oscar's abilities in his novel Dr. Sleep. And if you've ever heard of fictionalized stories similar to this, they drew their inspiration right here from Dr. Dosa and from Oscar.
Of books to read. But what was it about Oscar that made you think, I'm going to put pen to paper here and I'm going to write about this cat?
Well, I thought initially it was a fascinating story. The idea that this cat would have the ability to sort of tell when somebody was about to pass was something that caught my eye eventually. I wasn't the first to come up with it, but certainly as it percolated up to me, I thought, this is really something that I'd love to put to paper.
Well, in fact, Oscar's been right in about 50 patients. Has he ever been wrong, or?
There have been a couple occasions over time where he's either been off the floor. There have been a couple patients who've asked us not to have him, on the floor. So
people are aware when they come to the nursing home.
Oh yeah, and my real worry, actually, after the 2007 publicity, that there would be a mass exodus from the nursing home. But actually, the reverse has happened. And as part of this book, I went and I actually talked with family members who had Oscar there at the end of life. And the universal theme has always been that he's been a source of great, companionship and compassion, really.
In the end, Oscar the therapy cat would live a long 17 years. And in that time, known more so as a death predictor than maybe as the therapy and comfort giver that he truly gave, he would predict 100 deaths, with the occasional miss here or there. Now, did Oscar truly have an otherworldly ability? Or was it more likely to be the fact that warm blankets typically are put on those near death, and he may have just liked that? Maybe it's a little of both. And maybe it's one of those things we'll just never truly know the full story. Thanks for watching, everybody.